Well, I'm here again today with Dr. Terry Young, and Dr. Young is a prolific reader, and one of the things that we have to stay current with in our second half is being relevant. And one of the questions that comes from some of our students is, what should I be reading? And here we have someone who has done a lot of reading, and you've come across a book recently that does have some real important elements for us who are leaders in our second half. So Terry, tell us about this latest book that you've come across.
Well, I've actually read the book on Kindle. So this is a paper copy of the title or the cover by Bob Johansen, the New Leadership Literacies. And his whole point in the book is how do we thrive in a future of extreme disruption and distributed everything. Now, I'm not I'm not a person who reads a lot of futurist type stuff, but Bob Johansen is, I think, a voice worthy of listening to because he's part of the Institute for the Future. Bob Johansen was there in the early days of the internet, the ARPANET and so forth. He has seen the development of what today is what covers the world, which is this cloud. And he himself is not a futurist and doesn't claim to be. He simply says there are things that are upon us and things that will be upon us that he thinks we need to be aware of. He's the individual who framed the phrase, we are in a VUCA world. VUCA is V-U-C-A, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And I think the reason that he's worth listening to is because he is thinking out. His first chapter is basically looking backward from the future. And he says in the Institute for the Future, they look out 10 years. Rather than several years, they look out 10 years and then seek to figure out, in view of what a 10-year future possibility may be, what are some things we need to be thinking about now? He was recently asked the question about this VUCA world. I mean, are we still in a kind of VUCA world? And Johansen's response was he believes we haven't seen anything yet.
Boy, oh boy. We have seen a lot in the last 10 years, and to say that that is nothing yet is like mind-blowing. Wow. Yeah.
So he just believes the volatility, the uncertainty, complexity, leading potentially to ambiguity. He says we don't need to be ambiguous. He says our problem is that in leadership, we still have this idea that we need to be certain about things. And he says certainty is something we need to let go of. Clarity is more important than certainty. So it's just intriguing, a fascinating book from that standpoint.
Well, that is truly very interesting. That I think most people sense that we're in a time of a lot of change happening, not only technology, but just change in general. And there's wondering about what's happening with even the church. How does that work? How does leadership work in this new age that's happening? The shift is really pretty significant, and we're kind of in a little bit of a fog here. So that's why it's really, really helpful to talk to some guys who've paid a lot of attention to this.
Yes. Yeah. And he does. Spends his whole time doing it.
Well, good. I'm sure he's got a lot more. In fact, the next time, let's talk a little bit more of what's in that book there. So thanks for giving us an introduction to this, Terry.
You're welcome.